Good evening, YouTube. This is Kamikaze back again with another Flipbook video. But this time, we're going to be answering questions! Woo! So, why don't we just get right to it and let's answer some fucking questions!
JJ48 Six-Pack asks, "Oh boy, where do I start? I'm trying to make a Twitter account and I wanted to ask you something about it. Should I wait to make one? They changed the layout to where you need to verify your account by entering your phone number, and they say that after you do that, they would send me a text message. Which is stupid because 1, I don't have a cell phone, and 2, I'm using a computer, so the text message thing is completely pointless. Sorry for the long statement, I really need to get this off my chest."
Well, to actually answer that question, I'm going to tell you what I did back when I needed to verify my YouTube account to make videos longer than 15 minutes. What I did was I asked my grandma to borrow her cell phone for one night, because she hardly uses it anyway, and she trusts me for some reason, even though I once downloaded a Trojan onto her computer that didn't let her access the internet for like 2 weeks. So that was nice. Unless you had to pay like $120 or something. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I did that to my own grandma. But anyway, yeah, so let me use her cell phone for one night, and I just ran over to her computer and used, and logged into YouTube, entered in the verification code, and gave it right back to her. It took like 10 minutes. But, yeah, that's what I did. So if you have a grandma that trusts you enough, go ahead and try. That's my answer to that question.
Ben Farrell, or Farrell, Ben Farrell Williams? Names. Would you join the revolution? It looks like we are well overdue for one.
I will join that revolution just as long as there are free tacos involved. We are in a need for a revolution where, like, Taco John's offers 1 free taco with the purchase of 2 every Tuesday for Taco Tuesday. That's the kind of revolution that I would support. In your case, though, I imagine you're talking about a revolt against the government. And to that I say, sure, why the hell not? I'm bored enough as it is. Let's fucking tear some shit up. I'm sick of this shit, man. I'm sick of this shit.
Gabriel Nunes asks, "Have you ever had a teacher that doesn't take any shit from you? I'm a freshman in high school and I have an English teacher in the 70s that is exactly like that."
Believe it or not, my freshman and sophomore English teacher was a take no shit old bitch. It was the same person for both freshman and sophomore year. And we had to do our work or else we get yelled at and made an example of in the middle of class. We had to participate in class. Otherwise, we get yelled at and made an example of in the middle of class. And we had to do good in our quizzes. Otherwise, we had to like come in and have one-on-one sessions with her. And it all makes sense. I mean, it all makes sense. But to a freshman in high school, I'm like, bitch, I own this fucking place. You don't tell me what to do. But yeah. And it doesn't help that her class was really easy. And like about halfway through my freshman year, I got my shit together and I was like, wait a second, this is fucking easy as fuck. And I got A's and I never had to take a final in her class, because if you get a 95% for a grade or above at our school, you didn't have to take the finals. So that was always fun. That was always a goal to reach for when I was in school, actually. But yeah, and then everyone else was just fucking morons and never getting their work done. And then whenever someone would come into class and say, I didn't get my shit done, and I'd always sit there like, oh, here we go again. But yeah, it was dumb for about the first semester, but once I got my shit together, it was the easiest class that I had. And while the work was tedious, and all I really needed to do was do it, and she was not a bitch to me often. So yeah, that's my answer to that question.
How did the Flipbook feature occur in your fanfiction series #1, and do you plan to make it a natural part of the series? It was cool to see a flipbook, so I personally say keep it. Also, when will Tails and Kenny start up again, and can Morgan Freeman narrate the next episode of Tails and Kenny? Not the actual voices of character, but just the narration.
The Flipbook feature, I honestly don't know what causes it. It only happens when I make videos on Movie Maker with this webcam. and put the video into Sony Vegas and start editing it. I mean, if I use the camera feature on Windows 10, where it accesses your camera and films videos, then it'll edit just fine in Sony Vegas. But when I use Movie Maker, it might be because it's splicing together automatically this microphone and not the one that the webcam comes with. But and then I put it into Sony Vegas, and I thought originally that it was because of the computer that I'm using right now wasn't as good of a processor as my gaming PC. Then I took my videos back home, tried editing them on my gaming PC, and the same thing still occurred. So I said screw it, and I'm just gonna have a Flipbook now, because I don't know, people liked it in the first one, so I'm like, okay, if you like it, fuck it. Less work for me to do, but yeah. So it's probably going to stay because people enjoy it. And about Tails and Kenny, whenever I get back home for a long period of time, probably not going to be until summer or maybe Christmas vacation. I'm still thinking up ideas for the grand finale. I think it's going to be like a TV movie length one, just because I've been making people wait for so long. And if Morgan Freeman wants to narrate it, then sure, Morgan Freeman can go right ahead and narrate it if he wants. That's Morgan Freeman's decision. I can't make decisions for Morgan Freeman.
Do you find it ironic that Truex Jr.'s first race was right after 9/11? He wrecked it, unfortunately.
I don't know if ironic is the word that I would use. I'd say that makes him the hero that NASCAR needs and America needs. He is the hero that America deserves. But yeah. Yeah, he drove the 56 in that race, and it is unfortunate that he wrecked, and it's also unfortunate that 2013 happened. I'd say that was just another race for Truex, considering how his career's gone.
Corvette fan 01 asked, do you like Corvettes?
Who doesn't? I mean, I'm a Ford person mostly, but Corvettes and Camaros are badass. And while my favorite Chevy car is the 1970 Chevelle, like overall, that would be my favorite Chevy. In the Corvette section, I'd say a 69 Corvette, 71, and the most recent generation is it C7, whatever 2014 and 2015's C is. I was kind of hesitant about them at first, but then I took a real good look at them and I was like, okay, these are pretty fucking badass, in all honesty. But yeah, it's fun driving them in Gran Turismo 6.
JJ Fan 48 asks, did you ever like any of the Super Mario Bros. Games? And if so, would you ever play one for the channel?
There used to be an arcade game of the very first Super Mario Bros. At a local food joint. I'd always go and play that. I always sucked at it though because I was like 4 and I didn't know how to play games. But I haven't hardly played any of them. I played Super Mario World on DS. Yeah, played that. That's really my whole experience with that game series. And as for playing it on the channel, I'll play whatever anyone wants me to play. If you want me to play fucking Tetris, I'll play Tetris. I mean, I played Babysitting Cream, for God's sake. I play anything.
Armando Leaderman. I'm so sorry if I screwed that name up. When did you start liking NASCAR?
My family's always been kind of NASCAR fans. Like, whenever football is on, you know, I'll watch it. That's kind of how my family's been with NASCAR. My aunt's a fan of Dale Jr. One of my other aunts is a fan of Tony Stewart. My uncle was a Mark Martin fan. And I'd say it was around 2002 when I really started actually watching the races. Like, I remember my mom had to go to the hospital when I was in first grade, and we were at the hospital room and the race was on. But that's about all I remember. So that would have been about 2004, maybe even late 2003. Would it have been? Possibly. Could have been late 2003. It was really the NASCAR games that I like most because it took me the longest time in the world to start watching WWE consistently. Because I never knew when it came on, even though Monday Night Raw is such a recurring fucking event. But I'd always forget to watch the races. Like, if I wasn't reminded constantly that, oh, tomorrow's Sunday, gotta watch the race. Tomorrow's Sunday, gotta watch the race. Then I'd forget and just play video games or something. But yeah, it was really the NASCAR video games that got me into actually watching the shit itself. Because, like, I could play the racing game whenever. Like, I've always been fucking impatient. I've been a fucking impatient kid for a long time, so waiting a week for every race was just like, fuck that. And then I could just play the game instead of waiting for the fucking races, and that was so much more easier. I could go through entire seasons over the course of a week between races, but yeah. About 2002 is my answer to that question.
Hey guys, 288 asks, favorite color?
That's a tough one. I usually say like Saints Row purple, but then again, I'm always decked out in just the darkest of shit. Either midnight purple or flat black. Yeah, because I'm an emo like that. Next question.
Danish Pie Gaming asks, favorite subjoint? Mine is D'Angelo's.
I'm gonna sound really unoriginal when I say Subway, but Subway. Because I haven't lived in Dickinson for long enough to go to other sub-locations that actually exist. And I've lived in Bowman long enough for me to go to Subway nearly every week. Because it's like the best food that you can get there. It's even better than sit-down restaurants. Don't tell anyone I said that. Subway, so I can eat fresh. Sorry, I'm unoriginal. But I'm just unoriginal like that. And now we're back to Gabriel Nunes again! Ah!
And this question is, can you list the reasons why you hate Joey Logano besides Mark Martin bump and run 2012 Pocono?
I want to make it clear that I don't hate Joey Logano because he bump and run Mark Martin at Pocono, because if I did that, then I'd have to hate Regan Smith for bump and running Alex Tagliani at wherever the fuck they went. And I said that that was one of the best finishes to an Xfinity race this year because of that aggression. I hate that because Mark Martin is one of the cleanest drivers on the track. You could race around him for like 100 laps and he would still be as patient with you as he was 100 laps ago. The fact that he had to bump and run someone like Mark Martin is what gets on my nerves. Because Martin is too fucking clean. You can't do that to someone that drives that clean. So if we want to know why, let's go back to the beginning. The worst part about it is that I didn't hate Logano at one point. In fact, I kind of liked him. Whenever I saw him in a race, I was like, go ahead, do some shit. He won his first race that was rained out. And I'm like, bullshit. Okay? Yeah, to get your first win rained out. I mean, for God's sake, Denny Hamlin won 2 races his rookie season. And none of them were rained out. None of them were rained out. He also won the Bud Shootout that year, too. So that's kind of 3 races. Mostly 2, though. But, yeah. I could go all day on this one. There was, I don't remember if it was 2009 or 2010, Coke 06400 at Daytona, whatever the night race at Daytona was called back then. I think it was actually 2010. But, like, Joey Logano caused the wreck that Mark Martin was in. Yeah. So that was nice. 2013, no, and then you go to 2012, and then there was that stupid-ass fucking bump and run, because he's a fucking complete loser and can't race Mark Martin clean, because, you know, yeah. 2012, then 2013 goes to Penske, because there's no one else that could have gone there. No one like Justin Allgaier or Sam Hornish Jr. No, definitely Logano. I kind of had to get pissed off at Kurt Busch for getting fired, because if he hadn't, then he'd still be at Penske. So yeah, thank you, Curtis, for being a foul-mouth jerk face. Then he was then involved in the Spingate incident where he gave, or I don't want to have, he did something with Front Row Motorsports with Gilliland, and that was absolutely obvious on the radio. Absolutely obvious on the radio. I mean, even Clint Boyer's spin. It's debatable. It's still debatable. The radio communications, pretty shady, but it's still debatable. On the Penske radios, it's clear as day that they're discussing moving around. And the fact that MWR is penalized and Penske is not. And Penske is not, you know? And Penske is not. And Martin Truex Jr. is kicked out of the chase and Joey Logano is not. Yeah. That's fucking stupid as shit. Yep. And then Joey Logano tearing it up the past 2 years in a ride that belongs to either Sam Hornish Jr. or Justin Elliott. Sam Hornish Jr.'s in the 9 at Richard Petty Motorsports. Justin Allgaier's at the 51 at H. Scott Motorsports. I mean, like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And it doesn't help that Joey Logano's literally cancer. He wins the Daytona 500 and Steve Burns dies of cancer. He wins at Bristol and, he wins at Watkins Glen and Buddy Baker dies of cancer. He wins at Bristol. The very next day, Justin Wilson dies in an IndyCar wreck. Carl Edwards is a cure to cancer, however, because he won Darlington, and Ned Jarrett came out that he was free of cancer after several surgeries. So, if Carl Edwards winning means that cancer goes away forever, then I'm okay with Carl Edwards winning. I will cheer for him. I will definitely cheer for him. Hopefully that answers your question. Fuck Joey Logano.
And now we're in the home stretch. Number 1. Are you going to get a new phone so that, among many other things, you can periscope?
I am desperately trying to get a new phone. I'm not even gonna lie. I am trying my damnedest to get a phone that's worth shit. But I'm failing horribly in so many ways. This fucking piece of shit that I got right now is AT&T. Barely gets service anywhere outside of towns. And I don't have free texting. Every text that I send is 50 cents, and every text that I receive is another 50 cents. So, basically, I have about $80 of texting fees. Yeah, so that's good. That's good.
Why do you hate the Nationwide Baby commercial so much, even though it's number 2 behind Sunday Night Football Baby?
I hate the Nationwide Baby commercial. I thought it was not terrible for like the first week that they kept showing it every fucking commercial break, but the problem is that it was a nationwide commercial, so they were going to show it every opportunity that they had. Before I started doing fantasy commercials, I'd always count only the nationwide commercial, and it would get upwards of 8 times every race. Because it was played so many fucking times. So many fucking times. Over and over and over every fucking race day. And then I'd see it whenever I'm not watching NASCAR, just like watching Game Show Network or something, and I'd be like, no, PTSD flashbacks. And then they had to crash a fucking Mustang in that commercial. I mean, come on. You could have at least like crashed a Toyota or something. At least those are expendable. Mustangs are fucking expensive shit, man. At least they look good. They should have crashed like a fucking brand new Corolla or something, for God's sake. It doesn't help that I hate children, but, oh, and behind number 2, Sunday Night Football Baby, that commercial is just fucking atrocious and annoying in so many ways. That's how that is.
Do you find it odd that Mark Martin won the first race after you were born? I know you answered this, but I'm not finished yet. Which was 1997, Sonoma. Talladega was cancelled and postponed to Mother's Day weekend. And the fact that Mark Martin snapped a 62 winless streak.
2009 was so painful for me because the first race that he won was Phoenix. And I was out of town that day, and I came back with like 20 laps to go, and I wasn't actually paying any attention to the race. I was off doing other shit, and my mom came into my room and was like, "Hey, Mark Martin's leading." And I'm like, "What?" And I had to go over and watch the end of that race, and I was so fucking happy. And yeah, then Darlington was the next race that he won, and I was on the computer playing games, not even paying attention to the race, and soon enough it was over and Mark Martin won, and I was like, "Oh, yay." What was the next one? Michigan, I think, was next. Michigan, I was swimming when Mark Martin won that race. I came back, and my mom, once again, told me what happened, and that was fucking fantastic. Then the next race that he won was Chicagoland, and guess what? I was out camping when that race happened. So I missed that as well. And the only other race that I watched him win was New Hampshire, and that was pretty close, because if it wasn't for the spinner on the front stretch and Mark Martin taking evasive action, he could have hit that guy and not made it to the finish line, and Montoya would have won that. But he still beat Montoya to the line, even though the caution came out. The caution came out, right before he crossed the finish line, like it didn't in 2007 at Daytona. So, me not watching the race is what makes Mark Martin win. So, and then 1998 happened, and I was an infant, and he was just on a fucking hot streak that year, just tearing shit up. And I wasn't paying any attention at all. And then 2002 starts, and I'm occasionally watching races, and he doesn't win again until 2005, which I did not see. And then I start watching consistently in 2006, because 2006 was his fucking year. Thank you, JJ Yaley. Still pissed off about that 10 years later. And, yeah, and then 2007 happened, and then he started not going to races. And I was like, Then 2008 happened, and he was still not going to races, and I was like, fuck this shit altogether. And then 2009 happened, and I started watching every race, and every race that I watched, he did shit in, and every race that I didn't watch, he did good in. 2010 happened, I watched nearly every race, which is probably why I did so fucking terrible. 2011, watched every race, yeah. Started watching every single race after 2009, not skipping a beat. And that's probably why I never won again. So Mark Martin can thank me for never winning in NASCAR. I am so sorry, Mark Martin. I'm so sorry. Mark, I love you. Anyway.
You should totally do a fanfiction on What the Fuck 500 and read it as a part of your fanfiction series.
That's a good idea, actually. I was actually thinking of one day, actually I did start writing one, but then I stopped writing it and never started again after one night, and I was going to read it as a blind fanfiction. I should have deliberate grammar mistakes and stuff. Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. I like the way you people think. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this not live Q&A. I plan on doing more of these in the future because this internet sucks innumerable assholes. Yay. Go Martin Truex. Bye!